So I want to know if that microphone can be any further away from your face.
You do?
Yeah, I do. Why don't you put that? Why don't you put it on your table, and then pull it close? Because otherwise, no one's going to be able to hear you.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody. We're dealing with a little bit of inner office. Does that reach?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Can you hear you?
Yes, I can hear me.
Okay. So we watched Titan, OceanGate.
You didn't.
What?
You didn't do any introduction. Did I mess it up?
No.
Because I was moving around and things.
Yeah, it just started.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Sorry.
I don't know. Do you want to do introductions now?
No, you don't have to.
Do we have to make it all formal?
It doesn't have to be formal. I just didn't know if we started recording.
I get Louisa in the wild when we do that. So, but I need you to jump in here and help me because I noticed that there's been, in my notes, there's two movies about this.
Yes.
So we watched Titan. What was it? OceanGate, Anatomy of a Disaster, or
just Titan, the OceanGate Disaster.
The OceanGate Disaster, and then our notes pulled up OceanGate, Titan, Anatomy of a Disaster, but I guess there was another one.
Yeah, I didn't know that until now.
Yeah, until now either. So, it was on Netflix, and this was
the one that we watched was on Netflix.
Yeah, the one we watched was on Netflix, and anyone who's going to listen to this knows about the Titan disaster, the carbon fiber submersible that was privately designed and funded to examine and explore. What was that? To examine and explore Titanic. It was built by this guy, Stockton Rush, who's every bit as Anglo and square-jawed and elitist looking, or at least he was.
The name should have been a dead giveaway. Like the whole movie, I was like, his first name is Stockton.
It might as well have been Connor.
Yeah, exactly. Stockton Rush.
Or Brock.
Or Brock.
So apparently he came from money. And Louisa's rolling her eyes. Oh, rich people. Primary antagonist. Clearly an egomaniac and a narcissist. And you know what? I got to tell you, I don't really feel bad about throwing this guy under the bus in this podcast because...
Sorry, I don't know if this...
Well, that's every time you take those things off.
I'll keep them on.
Okay. So he paid for this company to get started, but he's the central figure, and his idea was to create a carbon fiber submersible to take down to the Titanic. And I guess he originally always planned on having sightseers go with him.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, the Titanic is 2.5 miles underwater. So you have to make the journey, obviously, down to the deep, dark depths of the water of the, ocean.
It's off the coast of Newfoundland.
Mm-hmm. Before you can even... so you have to spend 2 hours in something getting down to the same level.
Yeah, it's got to be
the
pressurized
first.
Going down.
So it's not... It just takes a long time to even get down there.
Yeah, you can't shoot straight down, even if you're in a submersible. It's got to go down slow and acclimate and all that stuff. But you know, what'd be interesting is if we revisited this in a while with Staley, because he does diving. I'm sure he would love to weigh in on this.
Oh, that would be really cool.
That would be really great.
That would be awesome.
I'll see if we can get him. Yeah, that'd be.
Yeah.
My good buddy Ryan Staley, who every year for the past 14 years in October, I take all the honey and I travel up to the Apostle Islands in Wisconsin. And Ryan, just a little bit before I started Hey Honey, started his diving charters, and he takes people out to the wrecks. There's a lot of relatively shallow shipwrecks around Isle Royal, and I can't. If we do a follow up with him, he can tell us about all the wrecks and about the hazards of diving. For anybody who doesn't know, concerns with getting the bends and achieving, achieving depth and pressure and balancing them at the right times and coming up at the right times at the right speeds. All very important. Otherwise, you get nitrogen bubbles appearing in your, showing up in your blood, and it's extremely painful. You have to go into what do you call them? Pressure chambers. The
the hyperbaric chambers?
No, the what do you call them? You have to get in the tube that like brings you back under pressure to relieve the.
Oh yikes! That sounds.
A decompression chamber.
Oh.
But yeah, that'd be interesting to have a chat with him about this, because I know he doesn't do submersible diving, but even the first time I heard this, and I know nothing about like the deep physics of water and pressure, but like I was telling you, carbon fiber is just, it's normally very strong. They make bikes out of it. They make all kinds of things out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's threads that are wound together, and they're almost with a resin. But, something like a submarine, that's plate steel.
Yeah.
On plate steel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's way more expensive to build them.
Mm-hmm. And it's way more heavier.
Oh yeah. And they addressed that in this.
Yeah, that's how I knew.
Yeah, they addressed that in this documentary, that most people who have those submersibles, they're either owned by larger companies or navies have them. Navies operate them. But his idea to do this was, I think it was just too big for. It was a good idea, but the materials that he wanted to use them, I think, ultimately because comparatively,
to save on cost.
Yeah, they were far cheaper. Stockton Rush built OceanGate to avoid regulation at every turn. And again, everybody, we love using Notebook LM. They do not pay us to say that, but it's really good at organizing all the things that we learned from this, from every movie we watch. But Rush, you can watch the movie and hear this. He built OceanGate to avoid regulation at every turn, actively trying to confuse rules and insisting that no one was a passenger, but he retermed them. He rebranded the people who were paying to go on his expeditions as, quote, mission specialists, and it was a jargon thing that he created as a workaround to argue that paying customers weren't civilians and thus would avoid safety rules. I don't know how you could do that. Because, I mean, it's some odd loophole because they didn't work for him. They were paying to be on these trips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We learned from the documentary and from our research online that in these submersibles it would be 5 people, and 2 of them would be OceanGate people, right?
Yeah.
Are my words? Okay. and then 3 would be passengers.
Yeah.
Also, not passengers, mission specialists or whatever.
I think what he was charging what, like $250,000 for each
Per
person.
person, yeah.
To cover the cost of these things, and it was, what was it, like $2 million for every
2,500.
No, for the he had to remake a submersible.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when they had that giant? There was for anybody who's into material science, there is a scene in this movie where they show the submersible is basically a tube out of wound carbon fiber with I think it's
a tiny tube.
Yeah.
That can fit 5 people. Literally fit 5 people sitting next to each other.
Do you remember this piece of equipment? It was a massive, it almost looked like a bean, but it had all these different sprockets sticking out of it when they
Yes.
were making
Mhm.
that thing.
Mhm.
And it was massive. It was as big as a building.
It was huge.
And they were, it fed in all of these different lines of carbon fiber, fused them together, and then wound them around a steel tube to get the frame. And I think each one of those was a couple $1,000,000.
Oh my gosh.
So he had to charge around, you know, 250 grand.
Yeah.
And he'd try to fit in what, like, didn't they say they had like 18 or 9 or 18 days of diving?
Yeah, so the money that the passengers paid was for an 8-day trip.
For an 8-day trip?
Mm-hmm.
And they went and they had, how many of those did they have? They had 9 in a season?
Oh yeah, I think they had 9 in a season, but they had a lot of dives. I think prior to all of the actual dives down to the Titanic, because if I'm correct in saying so, the dives down to the Titanic, the dives were not always down to the Titanic. They didn't always make it.
Yeah, a lot
because
of them.
they were testing or whatever you want to call it.
A lot of the movie was about the test dives and making sure that this thing actually worked.
And how they didn't go well,
Yeah,
by the way. Like,
most
not
of
even
them
close.
did not go well.
Not even close.
But Rush he ignored critical warnings, including, and this, like, we were watching this on a screen, and there were loud popping noises.
And they were so awful. I'm still having, like, PTSD from them. Just reading words about them, it's like, it's awful.
And huge popping cracks. And I don't think I feel bad that my words, how I sound online, but if you're watching this in the dark room on a big screen, which we were,
Mm-hmm.
you would hear these, and we have stereo sound, the pot, you could just hear these ping, and it wasn't anything hitting the hull. It was carbon fiber that made up the hull, snapping in tiny. It was under so much pressure, like little splinters of this hull were breaking. Now, if you're aware of how much
underwater.
Yeah, while you're underwater, there's so much pressure squeezing on this thing that's supposed to keep you alive, and you hear these things pinging off.
And it's not like one big, because this is what I thought. Sorry to interrupt, excuse me.
No, go ahead.
When we were watching it, the first time it happened, I'm thinking, oh gosh, that's awful. Oh gosh, that's awful. And I'm not trying to, like, demean it. But then it happens again, and it's, like, still so awful. And then while we're watching it, I'm thinking, like, because, for example, this is just on one test dive, something happened, or they heard noises. And I thought there would be, like, major concern after multiple sounds like this.
To be like abandoned,
because it wasn't
like, let's head back up.
Yeah, while underwater and then out and reported, it wasn't like one. This did not come out as well as it was in my head, but it wasn't like one loud bang in the whole 2 hours plus that you're down there. It was like multiple noises, like, all the time, and he was like, don't worry about it, it's okay, it's just
like how this is the other thing about him is about Stockton is they did acoustic testing where they used a prototype of this tube, a small handheld prototype.
Oh, yeah.
And put audio sensors inside it, and then put the whole thing in a pressure chamber to mimic the pressure on the entire assembly. Just in a facility, and you could track these pings and these breaks as pressure increase. You could draw it along a graph as pressure is increasing. So are these snaps. Some of them are small, and then some of them were massive,
huge, yeah, massive.
And then they had critical failures before they got to target depth, like significantly before target depth. And the whole thing would explode. They take it out of the pressure chamber, and one end of it was blown completely off.
Completely, and they'd be like, "Well, that didn't work out so well." Yeah, you think?
And let me get back to this peach of a human being, Stockton. As you're watching this, you just want to want to yell at the screen, like, "What do you do? How can you take this? Is not safe." They didn't have one successful test.
They did not have one successful test. Not even one that was close. I mean, they all had things that were wrong with them. I'm just reading, and I'm not sure. And again, I know I don't always talk about things that are related to what you're talking about, the current moment, but it says here that he created a culture of silence where employees were afraid to speak up. He Stockton Rush explicitly threatening those who tried to sabotage the company. And at one point we saw in the movie, and we've read online, that he was just
a bully.
Change my words if you want, but fed up with people pointing out what wasn't going well and what should be looked at again. And he would just fire those people because they were bothering. Yeah, they were bothering him. They were getting in the way. And so then, after he fired, the whole top tier of the team, he brought on young, fresh out of college.
Yeah, kids who did not have the pedigree or the experience.
Not even close. Nothing related. They might have been an engineer, but that was about it.
Yeah, you need guys who have actually piloted these things, worked for the Navy, and he didn't hire those people because he knew he couldn't control them. Which is, you feel bad for this guy, David Lockridge.
Very bad.
David. Let me see if I can find his write-up here.
Oh, wow. What I just said, I just had read multiple times.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Engineers were fired in large numbers over defects and replaced with even less experienced personnel. Disregard for safety and data. Despite test versions of the hull failing catastrophically. Oh, well, I guess we already said these things.
I think this was most of this was ego and financial pressure.
Definitely ego, yeah.
Also a significant motivator, as he needed money to keep the thing going, which is why he was pushing so hard to get passengers on it, which drove his eagerness for paying passengers, his reluctance to pay for proper storage. Oh, this thing where they pulled it out of the water, and instead of paying to put it in dry dock and have it winterized, he let it sit on the, what do you call that? Basically sit on the dock.
Yep.
And Newfoundland gets ridiculously cold in the winter. It just sat out there all winter with water all over it that froze in these tiny little
fiber
gaps
pieces,
gaps in the carbon fiber, which further weakened the hull. I'm surprised they didn't come back in the spring with a big old sheet of ice split down the middle. Ultimately, the sources conclude that Rush's ego and narcissism killed himself and 4 others. Many feel he murdered those people. And while charges can't be filed against him because he perished, the consensus is that he was a total disgrace and deserved what he got. I'm going to hand it to AI here because that's really kind of how I looked at it.
Like he
I don't feel bad that guy's
had
gone.
what was coming to him.
He did. He just had to take 4 other people with him. And what's funny is when you watch this thing, if you have any interest in this, I'm going to assume that anyone who's listening has maybe seen pictures of this submersible. I mean, like, you didn't climb into a hatch. The front of it came off. You got inside this tube.
It's like a pill.
Right. And then they bolted it shut.
And they bolted it shut from the outside.
From the
and
outside.
the people that were... So once the door was bolted shut, you couldn't get out from the inside.
Well...
Someone else had to...
Yeah. I mean,
unbolt
you don't want
the door.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you don't want to be able to get out if you're 2.5 miles down under the water.
That's the other crazy thing is he piloted this thing with like a Game Boy or a...
Oh, gosh, yeah, a Game Boy controller.
Yeah.
Like, it looks so, what's the word? Primitive or like juvenile. Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh.
So, and a lot of his displays were bolted just using simple screw and nuts. It didn't look like, it almost like he put the arms that held his computer screens inside that thing. It didn't look like they were custom made. It looks like he bought them off a shelf somewhere and bolted them into the side of the hull.
Sorry, which pieces are you talking about? I missed
just
something.
the arms that held on the
the
computer
arms.
screens.
Okay, yeah.
Remember when
they
were screwing it in with just like he bought those nuts and bolts at Home
the
Depot.
local, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Lockridge, the primary whistleblower, filed a complaint with OSHA, and in retaliation, OceanGate sued him for breach of contract, and he ran out of money, so he couldn't continue the fight. Well, he Lockridge countersued, but after too long, I think he realized he's like, I don't want to go broke with this. And then this, who's the other guy? Tony Nissen, director of engineering, served as engineering, but he's kind of a... I didn't quite know how to feel about him because he seemed like kind of two-faced.
Yeah, I thought so.
You know? Like, he just kind of shrugged his shoulders when Lockridge was getting thrown under the bus, but he kept this is going to bother me. He kept just kind of feeding the beast and allowing... He fought back a little against Stockton, but he was aware of significant defects, including a large crack in the hull and loud popping noises from the carbon fiber, and admitted to warning Stockton Rush about these issues. His own documents reportedly stated that the sub was not meeting requirements. I don't think it ever met anything. And he was constantly overruled by Rush. Crucially, Nissen stated that he didn't whistleblow out of fear of ending up like David Lockridge. It's kind of a just puss move. Like, I don't want to get fired. Like, you're going to die in that thing, dude. What's worse?
Yeah.
Believing Rush likes to ruin a life. What a psycho. His portrayal of the documentary is highly controversial among commentators. Many found his vibe to be off. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He was just kind of like, I don't want to get in trouble, but this thing doesn't work. But I'm going to allow him to continue his bad behavior.
Yeah, even though I know it's bad, and I tried.
He didn't step up at all. He just kind of, he was kind of a milquetoast.
Mm-hmm.
Characterized by nervous laughter and a flippant and uncaring or smug demeanor. Yeah, that's definitely true.
Mm-hmm.
He was criticized for a lack of compassion or remorse for his victims. Yeah. Yeah, fuck that guy. Yeah, Lockridge, though, was... You felt for that guy. He gave a shit. He was vocal about it.
Yeah.
He knew his stuff. And like he'd be like, you can't do any of this stuff. This is not the proper material.
Right.
Or like you can't go down far enough. And you're ignoring all that you've been given multiple warnings, both physical and from professionals.
And even without even without other people weighing in related to the OceanGate team, if you will, none of his trials of this ever worked or were successful. I mean, not even close to successful. It's just, yeah. Anyway,
Wendy Rush,
to say after that,
Stockton's wife and OceanGate director of communications. The implosion documentary, which we did not watch, shows her reacting to the suspected implosion sound during the final dive, asking, "Was that a bang? What was that bang?"
I read that. I read that too. That's
you know what that was.
Yep.
Josh Gates, Discovery Channel host, who had planned to feature the submarine or the submersible, but scrapped the episode after issues arose during the dive, saying it would be irresponsible to promote what Stockton Rush was doing. Oh, I remember this guy.
You do? I've not heard of this.
He was the one on there, the guy with the curly hair, and he got emotional. He had the YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. Right, and he could have
He could have gone and...
He went on a similar dive.
Yeah. I'm going to turn the lights on because I can't see anything.
Okay.
You may chat about anything.
Well, before we started, we're doing our, Notebook LM and research on this and reading what the internet has to say about it, and I just found this interesting. From Wikipedia, it says, under expedition arrangements, this voyage was booked, so they're testing the OceanGate submersible, and they'd booked a voyage, it says, for early 2023. Rush offered Jay Bloom, an American businessman, 2 discounted tickets, intending for Bloom and his son to be on the excursion. Bloom, a billionaire, was offered a price of $150,000 per seat, rather than the full price of $250,000, with Rush claiming that it was safer than crossing the street. But Bloom declined the offer due to his concerns about its safety. At that time, the excursion was scheduled for May, but unfavorable weather caused it to be delayed until June. So,
dodged a bullet right there.
I read that yesterday, and I was thinking about it since I read it, and I just can't believe that. He was so desperate for passengers, to pay this money because he was probably so in debt and also needed the money to keep going, that he offered not only tickets to these people, but discounted tickets. And even the people he offered them to said no.
Bad idea.
Because they were concerned about the safety. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. J. Bloom, but you had no idea, you weren't on the teams or anything, and even then you were like, this is not a good idea. I'm not terrible. Going, and it wasn't, there wasn't any hesitation, this option, this
he's going to give me
could be
half
really
off.
Yeah, amazing. And then for a discounted ticket, yeah, sure, I should definitely go. He was like, no way. I don't know if it wasn't in this thing that we watched, but I think I told you
what's his name? James Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
Weighed in on this. He's like, that guy's a fucking idiot.
Yep.
It's like that thing's gonna crumble.
I remember.
Because nothing about carbon fiber at pressure is a good idea. And all of his, like, James Cameron's got more money than God. And he loves going down there, but he goes down there in, like...
Not a carbon fiber.
No, he goes out down
teeny
with...
tiny pill submersible.
He goes down with the Navy.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Some issues about the actual equipment. What?
No, go ahead.
Sources provide a comprehensive and chilling account for numerous issues with the Titan submersible, placing them firmly within the larger context of the OceanGate Titan submersible disaster as a preventable tragedy stemming from systemic failures, disregard for safety, and Stockton Rush's ego-driven hubris. Here's a breakdown of the submarine submersible issues. Holy crap, I didn't realize there were this many. I thought it was all just the fiber.
Like a long list.
Well, carbon fiber hull is number one. Fundamentally made of carbon fiber, material that, while strong and light for aerospace applications, is explicitly stated to be so quote unquote, so dog shit for underwater pressure because it lacks the solid force needed to oppose it. Traditional deep-sea submersibles use solid materials like steel and titanium to avoid weak points that could be points of failure. Multiple sources indicate that nowhere near enough tests were done to prove carbon fiber's reliability in deep ocean exploration. Lack of certification and classification. The central issue was that Titan was an uncertified, unclassed vessel, allowing OceanGate to operate outside standard safety regulations. Stockton Rush deliberately designed OceanGate to avoid regulation at every turn, using loopholes like referring to paying customers as mission specialists to argue they weren't civilians and thus avoided rules for paying customers. What a dick. This decision not to go the class route meant the project would likely not have gotten past the drawing board if subjected to proper scrutiny. Catastrophic test failures and ignored warnings. Test failures, we talked about this. Few tests were carried out on the smaller test versions of the hull, all of which failed catastrophically. Boeing's warnings. Oh, Boeing was involved with this too.
Yeah, that was his initial wake-up call to me, yeah.
Boeing concluded after analysis of the failed hull, warned OceanGate outright not to do this.
Yep.
And stated that the hull just wasn't up to scratch.
And didn't they back out?
They did.
They didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, they're like, this is a bad idea. OceanGate then went totally independent, using Boeing's designs to continue on its doomed path alone. Next one, David Lockridge's evaluation and whistleblowing. David's OceanGate's highly experienced director of marine ops and submersible pilot was asked to conduct a full evaluation of the sub. Oh yeah, you remember this? They told him to do a full evaluation. He looked at it, was like, "This is not going to work. You're having failure points at every turn." And then Stockton was like, "Shut up! Don't say anything."
Yep. I want you to do this, but I don't want you to tell me what you find. And then Lockridge was like, "You just told me to do this." Right.
Lockridge performed many of his own tests, most of which the sub failed, and he sent a detailed report to Rush with the goal of ensuring the safety of anybody that goes in there. His efforts were a direct and brave attempt to prevent a disaster. Acoustic monitoring warning systems. Acoustic monitoring system warnings. The Titan was equipped with an acoustic monitoring system. We talked about this too, which was supposed to warn of impending failure. However, despite the system actively registering loud popping noises during test dives, the subsequent dives, indicating the carbon fiber hull was getting weaker and weaker. The acoustic data, after dive 80 in particular, showed obvious increases in data for sounds of additional carbon fibers breaking, with the sub essentially screaming at the top, screaming at them to stop. These warnings were ignored. I hate every line I read. I hate this guy more. It
gets worse and worse. I know, and I'm sitting here doing that while you're talking. It's like I can't. I don't see how it can keep getting worse. It's just so.
You know what's funny is, like, outside of the fear of death, this is what it's like working for a lot of companies in America.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, people, like, you know, they promise you the world, then you get inside and you realize how insidious it is.
Mm-hmm.
This one just happened to be so bad that people died. Hull crack and secrecy. You remember this? At one point, a huge crack was found. You remember that long one they put tape along?
It was like half the.
It was like 4 feet long.
Submersible size.
It was a 4-foot crack, and there were other. You remember there was like 2 other ones that were both above and below it.
And at first, it didn't look like anything, and then they showed it, like Jay is saying, with the tape.
Yeah.
And you were like,
I'm like, oh my god, that's so big. There was a crack that is as almost as tall as me.
Significantly.
Yeah.
Damaging.
It was found in the hull, necessitating a new one. A new hull. That's why they built the new one with the carbon fiber machine. The critical defect was kept not public knowledge, and the employees were explicitly told, do not say anything to anyone. Well, that's not good. Improper storage. This was the thing about them keeping it out in Newfoundland. Stockton Rush didn't want to pay to have Titan transported. Like, my buddy Ryan Staley, every year he pulls his boats out and he has them winterized. Mm-hmm. That's just what you do. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if you let it, like, if you don't winterize it, the water's going to freeze inside the boat. It's going to split stuff. Like, pipes are going to break, bilge pumps going to break. The lines will crack. You have to winterize it. You didn't want to have to pay for Titan being transported back to headquarters after operations ceased for the season. Instead, he just left it sitting outside in a parking lot in Newfoundland for months, freezing and thawing over and over again in sub-zero temperatures. This was a critical mistake, as the sub cannot be stored in sub-zero conditions, because if water gets in there and you sit it out in freezing conditions and that water expands, it breaks fibers. This neglect made the hull even more fragile and prevented necessary internal inspection and repair. The implosion occurred on the very next dive after the prolonged outdoor storage. What a dope. Inexperienced staff, like we said. Engineering department was made up almost entirely of young, inexperienced, recent graduates, too afraid to tell Rush that he was wrong. Many experienced employees, including Emily Hammermeister, either refused to continue dangerous tasks like bolting the sub, or left the company due to safety concerns and ultimatums from Rush. Suppression and dissent, disregard for physics and safety. Oh, this is the other thing. You remember when they were talking about he was an engineering student, but he was a pretty bad one.
Yeah, so they showed copies of his alleged report cards. They were not good.
No.
They were not good.
The guy studied finance, and I didn't get straight A's or anything. I'm not a mathematician, but I did better than this guy in physics, and this guy was running a multi-million-dollar diving company.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bananas. Systemic failures and lack of oversight. Oh, whistleblower protection failure. Lockridge went to OSHA to talk about what was happening at OceanGate, and this is a failure of OSHA, in my opinion. They're like, we have what they call a whistleblower protection scheme.
Yeah. Okay.
and it didn't work. It didn't shield him from any.
Oh yes, okay. It took me a minute. Yeah.
It didn't shield him from anyone finding out that he was the whistleblower.
Right.
And then when Lockridge went back to Ocean and said, "Hey, you guys said you were gonna protect me," this idiot from OSHA's like, "Hey, we got a lot of other stuff going on. And,
we have more important cases."
Yeah, and then he's like, "We're not the CIA," and you're like, "Then why did you say you were going to protect me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the incentive for me to come forward? You know, if I'm not going to, if I'm, you know, now this guy's going to sue me." So OSHA, if you're
Failed.
listening, get your shit together.
And OSHA's a big part of. Excuse me, not to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say OSHA's a big part of everything. I mean, I had to do OSHA training in my job.
Trying to see what other. We could go on about this for a while, but like the company culture, it was. Like you can tell, the company was run by a narcissist who, you know, it was his way or the highway. Especially when you employ a bunch of young people in there who they haven't really cut their teeth and gained a lot of experience in other environments, and they're too young to. They don't have the stones at that point right out of college to be able to stand up to the boss and be like, "Hey, you're gonna kill people, and I don't feel comfortable doing this," or not talking to oversight bodies about this. Sources vividly describe OceanGate's company culture as toxic, ego-driven, and fundamentally unsafe.
I mean, how many people did we see in that documentary who said they were working for OceanGate and then for obvious reasons they couldn't do it anymore? Just morally, they couldn't do it anymore, and they left. They quit.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot of people, and it's like once one person did that, more followed. I mean, he didn't really have anybody left.
I mean, like, I run my shop my way, and I don't really take, like, usually it's people telling me to make, like, a different flavor, or, you know, where I should put my bees. I don't have a company where people's lives are at stake, you know?
Right. And people you don't even know.
Yeah. And his employees would say, "Hey, you know, XYZ is a bad idea. We ought to rethink this." And he would threaten them. Like, you do realize that if we have a catastrophic incident, you might die, or other people will die, and then you will be sued. And then all these things that you're doing, circumventing rules and safety standards of OSHA, like, you will never, not only will you never recover, it will be an avalanche of lawsuits.
And in the beginning, I mean, Stockton Rush hired these people, you know? I mean, so everybody was on board and had this great idea and thought, yeah, let's all work together. But it really was never that kind of a circumstance or environment.
Yeah, and like, of course, there was that finance was really driving it. He had to get money in the door, and he was trying to cut corners, but all the places he cut corners were absurd.
I just think too, like, if this submersible had been successful, and let's just say nothing had gone wrong, like, how cool would that have been? And what, I guess, would you say, notoriety their company would have gotten and these people would have gotten for all of the work that they had done. And instead he was just thinking, like,
he's just maligned now.
Let's just ignore the safety protocols and let's get this submersible in the water down to the Titanic, despite what might happen. And it was just, he just ignored.
It's crazy because you want to be remembered for something in your life, and like, his legacy will be forever maligned as an egomaniac shithead who killed people. Mm-hmm. And he had 80 dives worth of warnings, or 79 dives worth of warnings to say this is a bad idea, don't proceed. And he ignored all of them. He ignored people who tried it and be like, hey, this is... And ultimately, I think he was doing this to do it on the cheap, comparatively. And, yeah, it would have been cool, but... there are a couple of... We may have done a search one time, a materials search, new tech materials that are in production right now that have unusual performance characteristics. And I know there's a couple that are extremely strong. They might be polymers, but producing them right now is expensive, and they're untested. But one day we might have a way to make something like what he was trying to build. Carbon fiber isn't the thing to do it with. And, maybe if you can put your ego in check and pull back and say, all right, I got to rethink this thing from top to bottom. The goal that you were trying to get to is great, but you're never going to achieve that goal if the idea that you have in mind that you're trying to execute on is just flawed from the start. You have other people around you to rethink this. At no point did you ever hear about them sitting in a room and be like, all right, I can't afford what we're going to have to do. I have no idea if we can pay for it or if I can make this company go forward. But if we were to remake this thing and not use carbon fiber, what else can we do? What other out-of-the-box ideas do you have? Because I don't have them.
No, it's just all about him and what he thought was best.
Unfortunate. But, okay, so I don't have a recipe today. Don't flip out. But I did find Louisa a magazine of a gazillion air fryer recipes.
Yes, he did.
Where is that? Do you have that?
Yeah.
Is that right next to you?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, maybe
Do you want it?
I want to see those cupcakes. Because they do include honey.
They're breakfast muffins.
Oh, breakfast muffins.
I think, right? Cupcakes are good, too.
Oh, these are...
French toast, right?
Yeah.
Good job for remembering this detail.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, though, so...
A tiny side note.
Yeah.
I was reading in that magazine, and this magazine has been published once before, and I believe that it was so popular that all the copies were gone, and so they've published it again.
Really?
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool.
I can't... I don't know if I'm going to find it. Do you remember where it was?
Sort of in the beginning.
Oh, it was.
If you look at the table of contents, it might kind of give you an idea. Because I think it was under, I don't know, muffins or something. I can find it if you want.
No, hold on. Oh, fuck it.
This book has so many good recipes in it. I have to
All right,
look at it.
I'll see it. You know what? If you're listening, I can only assume that you like listening to us.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll tell you that if you can't find it from me reading you the table, if you can't tell me what heading to look under, we're just going to do it next week.
Okay.
So there's air fryer basics, rise and fry, donut shop.
It's probably in Rise and Fry.
Really? That's at the beginning.
Yeah, because it's like a breakfast thing.
Okay. Oh shit, they're there. Okay. Lucky you, faithful listeners, you're getting a recipe. These are blueberry and cream cheese French toast muffins. Okay.
Minus the blueberry.
And they're covered with honey. 1 cup whole milk, 4 eggs, 2 tablespoons ground sugar, 2 tablespoons or teaspoons vanilla, half teaspoon almond extract, quarter teaspoon salt, 6 slices of Texas toast cut into 3/4 inch cubes. You could do Texas toast or you could do challah. That looks like 1/2 cup blueberries, 4 ounce cream cheese cut into 32 1/2 inch pieces, about, and 1/4 cup slivered almonds. It says optional, but this thing looks delicious with them in there. And then powdered sugar, maple or blueberry syrup, but I say honey all day long.
Mm.
Large bowl, whisk together 6 ingredients. The first 6 ingredients through salt. What does that mean? Up to the salt. So milk, eggs, granulated sugar, vanilla, almond extract, and salt. Add bread cubes, blueberries, and cream cheese. Cream cheese cubes. Toss and coat. Divide bread mixture evenly among 8 individual standard size silicone muffin cups. 1 cup with slivered almonds. If you're using, be very careful. Cups will be very full and mounded. Working in batches, if needed, place muffin cups in the air fryer. But we can make this immediately. Cook at 350 for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Man, that sounds good. You know how long I've waited for muffins?
I ordered the cupcake things. They didn't come yet.
What, the silicone thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. We're making this.
I think those are very important to have. Good first step.
Cool muffins for 3 minutes before serving. Sprinkle on top with powdered sugar and cover with honey.
Sounds so good.
I would tell you what the calorie and fat content is, but I don't give a shit.
We don't need to know that.
I'm not covering any of that.
No one needs to know that because then they're not going to eat it.
Yeah, forget it.
And the point of eating something like that is not to worry about the calories that moment.
All right, so we got to watch another movie, and I have to eat. So hugs and kisses. Thanks for listening, as always.
And really, truly, if you are interested, you should definitely check this out because I know that a lot of people, if not everybody, heard about this on the news. I mean, it was the only story for like a week. And you know how the news is. There's something new every hour.
Yeah, it was.
This was huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Everyone was following it. And honestly, before, I was going to say, when it first broke, I was waiting for James Cameron to weigh in. Because I was like, of all people and experts, like,
I saw that.
He would know what he was talking about.
Yeah, I saw that on the very next day. He was like, who does this guy think he is?
It's like, it's...
Like, what? You should keep your mouth shut, man. You didn't make Terminator. All right.
But anyway, highly recommended. Sad and disturbing, but...
I'm not sad. I
highly
don't miss that guy.
Well, not him, but...
I know. I got it. They know what I mean. Hugs and kisses. I gotta eat. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
How long was that?
50 minutes.
Nice.
Or 50 and change.